And we're live. Thanks for joining us here again in Pondcast episode 39. As always, I've got my trusty right-hand man, Anthony, here. And also joining us is the Turtle Room's video production coordinator, Kevin Minto. You can thank him for all the beautiful work that happens through our YouTube channel. So thanks for being here, guys. We've got a good show full of fundraisers and in situ projects to talk about tonight.
That's right. That's right. Happy to be here. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Kev.
So happy to be on board as well. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we've got some things planned for tonight. We also hear Kevin's on for the first time for an entire show. We're excited about that. Are you nervous, Kev?
No, I was on in June actually with the Jack Berlin episode.
You were only on for a few minutes. I just want to make sure you're doing okay with this. This is a big step.
I was on the entire episode, man.
Yeah, he was. Oh yeah.
No, he was not. We kicked him off. Remember, he had to.
The entire episode.
I'm gonna have to look back. What episode was that? 35.
Is in June.
June. So we're 39 now. 38 in September. 37 in July. 36 in June.
See how he skipped August? He's smart because we didn't do it in August.
No.
He knows what he's doing. So that's why he's here, folks. That's why he's here.
We never do one in August because of the conference.
Yeah, right. I can't even remember.
Unless next time maybe we can get like 12 members of our team to this conference, and then we could have people being able to like do some things and actually host one from the conference if we could get internet good enough. Might be kind of fun.
Was that the issue? There wasn't strong enough Wi-Fi?
No, we did with only one person from the or two people from the organization, me and Scott there. It's like to actually successfully host one while also getting involved in all the other things you need to be doing during the conference.
Okay.
There's not enough bodies.
That's how you appropriately pressure your cohorts into doing something you want them to do.
Yeah. Well, we need more bodies at the conference.
I am pretty sure that I can convince my wife to go to Colorado next year if that's where it's officially happening.
Denver. Oh. Yeah, we're going to Denver. Yeah. Hopefully official dates by Thanksgiving, but we'll see.
Okay. Denver, beautiful, the Sunshine State, terrific.
I think you have that confused, but you know,
I think that's from old school. That's like the specific place. I feel like, isn't it? In Old School, Owen Wilson when he's drunk. No,
I don't know the movie well enough. You know, I don't know movies like you know movies.
That explains a lot. Old School is our generation's Animal House. You have to know it, even if you don't like it. You have to know it. Do you know what I'm saying? Kevin's working on something.
I'm looking up the Old School Denver quote for you.
I'm hoping that's like I got it right. It's Denver. I think it's Denver.
Yeah, Denver, the Sunshine State, gorgeous.
Right, gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous.
Okay.
Yeah,
it has to be a movie quote. With Anthony, you can always count on several good movie quotes.
Yeah, so I speak in movie quotes. Pretty much 95% of everything I say.
So does your dear friend John.
Yeah, the other 5% is just Latin turtle species names.
Exactly.
That's it. That's my whole diet made up for you right there.
You change the names of them sometimes to, camels.
Yeah. Dunkalicious or whatever that was.
Dunkaballs. Kevin, apologize to all of our viewers for your clickbaiting.
Oh, yeah, I'm very, very sorry.
We're talking about the video where I dunk a basketball because on the podcast several times, John and Steve, and at least in person, Kevin made fun of me that I couldn't dunk a basketball anymore. Mm-hmm. So I had to prove them wrong. But then Kevin got a little excited about the naming of the video and the way that he edited everything. I thought, I think it was appreciated.
I called and asked if I could do clickbait for this one. So yeah,
that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. That it shouldn't all be on you. That you did ask. And I think the vast majority of people had a good sense of humor and were okay with it. But some people were very quick to call us out on our clickbaiting approach to
all the time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you can't avoid clickbaiting all the time. That's one thing I always say.
Yeah, even the largest YouTube channels do it all the time. So
it's a fine line. Fine line.
Once in a while, here we'll clickbait you, but it's for It's for a little gag, and hopefully, we'll be okay. Right.
I won't do it more than once a year. I promise.
Good. I'm going to hold you to that. It's now it's out there.
That whole video got 605 views, and
wow, that's a lot of views.
Well, I'm assuming Anthony's like 300 of them,
Yeah, I was showing all my friends, like, look, I can still dunk.
Everybody else what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's sitting at there working. Hey, I dunked a basketball this weekend. Come see it.
I don't care how tall I am. I'm bald. I have what little hair I have left is gray. I'm fat, and I eat 6 chicken parm meals a day. And the fact that I could still dunk a basketball, I don't care how tall I am, it still counts.
By the way, folks, 6 chicken parms, that's part of a rigorous diet to maintain his weight.
Yeah.
He just shrinks down to nothing if he does not have 6 chicken parms a day.
They call me the
calories minimum.
At every meal, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They call me the big parm, and that's not for nothing. It's legit. So, speaking of my lovely personality, and as it involves chicken parm, I had a chicken parm sub purchase for me just the other day. It was delicious, and there's more to that story. It was purchased by the amazing, very talented, very I'm not worthy, I don't even deserve to be having conversations with a gentleman named Ari Taub, who is a American film director, filmmaker, and he is just absolutely amazing. And he's been kind of coming to us at the Turtle Room to help him with a documentary that he's making about turtles. And he's a turtle guy as well. Obviously, he's a very accomplished filmmaker who's won a lot of awards, and he just happens to love turtles. He's kind of liked turtles since he was a kid. Kind of a story similar to a lot of us, where he was like catching turtles in the wild when he was a kid, and then seeing those places where he used to encounter turtles kind of be turned into strip malls and housing developments, and then not seeing a certain species in the wild anymore. So it's kind of, and then what he's read online about things like that. I mean, look, this is the legit guy right here. This is a legit guy. So, like, The Fallen, I've heard of that movie before, okay? I don't remember watching it, but that was the legit movie that, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Like this is the type of person who I'd be thrilled just to meet, and to actually, like, work with him on a project is absolutely thrilling, really, like, for lack of a better term. So, he, has some turtles himself, and is still interested in them. And the more time that passes, the more he's kind of felt like he should make this passion project, and now he's actually doing it, which is amazing. He's come out to my place, and he's gone to Chris Leone's place, Garden State Tortoise, who, as many of you viewers probably know, is our director of animal husbandry, and has gotten some awesome B-roll and also some interviews of us in our turtle rooms, our collective turtle rooms. And I was
going to say, in your natural state.
Yeah, in my habitat here, Turleonis duncabalus. And I will say, for anyone who now, like, in a year and a half, this is going to come out, and it's going to go on, like, the film, the independent film festival circuit and all that stuff, and we'll be able to go to, like, a legit, like, film, like, opening, which is wild. But for anyone who ends up seeing this, like, a year and a half, 2 years from now, whatever it is, just know that it was, when he filmed me, it was August in my basement where all my turtles are, and where most of my turtles are, and I was sweating profusely. It was very uncomfortable for everyone, and I just want you to know that I wasn't nervous or anything. I was actually very comfortable, but I was sweating a lot because the turtles come first. You know what I mean?
When he came over to your place, and I believe you were there also at Garden State Tortoise when he did, what were your expectations going into it? And then what did you come away with from it?
Well, I had spoken to him on the phone a few times, so I knew that he was legit. And then I looked him up online, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. And as we were talking about earlier with the movie quotes, like, I am a movie buff, so I really do, like, appreciate independent films, cult classics, the whole 9 yards. I haven't been able to get the time to actually watch one of his movies yet. I have to admit, I'm embarrassed, but I'm excited to. Anyway, so going into it, I had conversations with him on the phone, and you know, I love the questions he asked, and he's really good, like you know, such a professional where like he'll send you the questions ahead of time and say, you know, this is what we're looking at, so go ahead and just like you have, Kevin, with our videos, you know, here's what we're looking at, and you know, familiarize yourself with them and think about your answers. You know, I spend every free minute of every day thinking turtles. Like, obviously, you guys know that I'm obsessed. But the questions he sent me were very simple, so I went into it very comfortable that I could just talk about things that I'm passionate about and that I care a lot about anyway. So that was pretty simple.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was going into it, to answer your question, going into it, I was very comfortable, and that didn't change. Besides the fact that I maybe looked like I wasn't comfortable because I was so sweaty. So really gross, like Kevin Garnett at the free throw line in overtime, sweaty, like sweat dripping off the goatee.
Second part to that question. Now, being that you're the head of video and audio for the Turtle Room, what did you learn that day from him that you think we can use to kind of push our media further?
I think we need a guy who's just a cameraman. Mm-hmm. I think we need an $8,000 camera. I think we need. I'm just kidding.
That's a big order, man.
I saw it too. I'm like, oh man, because I had a pretty good video camera myself, and then I was like, oh, do you mind? Would you mind telling me how much that camera costs? He's like, it's about $9,000. Like, oh man.
Was it like a red 4K camera? It's
a Sony camera. I think so. I think like 4K or something like that. But it uses like big SD cards, kind of. If that makes they're like wider but they're like just as flat, but they're like bigger. I don't know. But it was really cool. And like the artificial lighting and I mean a lot of the stuff we've used too, like the lapel mics and stuff like that. Like some of the stuff wasn't that impressive, but everything seemed to work really well. And like when they were interviewing Chris, I was watching from behind the camera and I was able to like see what the footage looked like, and it was just amazing how good it looked.
Yeah.
But we also went out in the field too with one of the in situ projects that we've been involved in that we'll talk about later. We do want to talk about some work that we do in the field. The term in situ, which is spelled I-N. Is there an apostrophe, Steve?
No, it's a hyphen.
A hyphen I meant. Apostrophe. I'm embarrassed. A hyphen I meant. Steve is our fact checker, and when I say things like apostrophe when I mean hyphen, he corrects that too, which is perfect. So thank you. So it's I-N hyphen S-I-T-U. In situ, and it means in the wild. When somebody does work in the wild in a natural habitat with an animal, that's in situ. And
you can see the phonetic pronunciation, etc.
How did I do? Okay.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah. Cool. So textbook definition is in its original place, which is why we use that to talk about conservation of turtles in their wild habitats, because they're in their original place.
And ex situ would be what we do. Ex situ would be what we do with animals, like in assurance colonies, like what I have here in my basement. Don't tell anyone about my basement.
There are times, by the way, it's used without a hyphen. So it's really, you can go either way, with hyphen, without hyphen, etc.
Right. So yeah. So. I'm really excited for it. The other thing too is to watch on our YouTube channel, because Ari has, in all of his generosity, has offered to send us some of the footage that he thinks maybe won't be used for the movie, and they've already started kind of putting things together.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. It's really cool.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say what's really tough is about probably just under a year ago, me and you were talking that we wanted to do this exact same thing, and we kept hashing out ideas and what to do. We actually started getting like some interviews that we didn't use and whatnot. And then this project rolled up, and I think this project, unfortunately, is going to be, in a good way, a lot better than ours would have ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited for it. Even though I'm not directly related into there, I'm happy to be a part of it.
I think there might still be an opportunity. I think we know. I'll tell you something right now. And I don't want to sound cocky, okay? Because I'm not I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. Is that what it's called? But so as good as as much better as Ari is. I know I'm not saying this right, but you follow everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. At making movies, we know more about turtles. So he's ultimately going, and he's been so good. Like he will absolutely show it to us first, make sure he doesn't use anything where, you know, he interviewed me for like 4 hours, and I guarantee you I said some really stupid stuff in there. I felt okay about everything. I don't remember anything specifically that I said that I felt was stupid, but believe me, there was some stupid stuff in there. In 4 hours, I will say stupid stuff. If you've never watched the podcast, believe me, I will.
You only need to watch one podcast to see.
Yeah, seriously, right. It doesn't take 4 hours. One podcast an hour.
Just over an hour.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. So I trust him. I know he's going to do a great job, but at the same time, I think we have a better knowledge of turtles in general and what's going on. So I think that, you know, there's still maybe an opportunity for us to do something that maybe gets more in depth in a particular issue.
Yeah, just tailor it differently.
Yeah, so I think there's still options there for us, but at the very least, and time is on our side. Most of us are young. I mean, Steve's pretty old now, but most of us are.
I'm older than both of you guys.
Are you older than Steve? Steve's old.
By tick.
Yeah. What? What do you say? I didn't hear it. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm a grandfather compared to you guys, you know?
Oh, man, I thought you were actually saying you're a grandfather. So what are you talking about?
No, I just I use a lot of lotion on my face, so that's why I keep my great complexion and everything, you know?
Right. I would actually guess out of the three of us that you were the youngest.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're the baby, Anthony. That's why you're so big.
Yeah, right. I'm like baby Huey of the group. We call you babyface Minto when you're not around, Kev.
Babyface, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call you.
I've always had a big beard, so I don't know.
Yeah, but under the beard though, you could tell you're young. No crow's feet or anything like that.
No, it's amylactin, you know. That's a wonder lotion.
That's amazing. I don't use lotion because I'm lazy. I haven't brushed my teeth since last week.
I don't know. That one you might want to work on.
I floss though.
Yeah,
I floss. I don't brush. That's, you know, I'm lying because nobody does that. Nobody flosses and not brushes. Am I right?
Yeah. If you floss and don't brush, there's something wrong.
Right.
It's very.
I don't use toothpaste though.
No.
Did you know that? No, it's not. I've read up on it a lot. It's not necessary. The only thing you get from toothpaste is fluoride. If you get fluoride toothpaste, but I drink tap water. Hello.
What about breath?
My teeth are terrific, so I don't have bad breath usually.
Well, no, that's not the point. It's not the teeth. It's in the back of your tongue.
No, I don't think so. I think it has a lot to do with your teeth and like gingivitis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pondcast in November, we're gonna have a dentist on to go.
That's a really good idea. And then we can talk to them about all the dental tools we use to clean turtle shells. Like I use a whole bunch of dental tools. Toothbrush, obviously, for any time you need to scrub something. And then I use like the picks to clean out necrotic tissue if there's ever a shell rot issue, which does happen from time to time when you have a large collection of animals in captivity, especially when you have stuff coming in or if you're rescuing animals as well.
Mm-hmm. How are those Claudius doing?
Oh man, they're terrific.
You got them? Are they right near you? You can pick one up.
Do you want me to pick one up?
Yeah, I want to see them.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to shut my camera off. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right.
So while we wait for Anthony to go get what turtle did you say he's getting?
Claudius.
Oh, one of the Claudius, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool. We might actually have a Claudius in our upcoming calendar, folks. So, those of you who bought it before will be tickled with what you see coming out in front of you within the next several weeks. We're working on putting the finishing touches on that as we select pictures and finish producing that. So there's a hint we might have a Claudius. See, I thought he was gonna be back right there, so I thought I had to. There he is.
This thing's gonna kill me right now.
Oh, that's the coolest.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So they call these the vampire musk turtle.
Yeah.
And they have the little or the narrow bridge musk turtle. He's legit gonna bite me on camera right now. I'm gonna be so embarrassed, like those people who try to kiss their alligator snapping turtle on video.
Look at that mouth. That's so.
It's so mad at me right now.
I love how like the webbed feet, how wide they are and everything.
They're terrific. I love the orange iris around the eye. He's not looking at the camera. He wants to kill me. So they're tremendous. You could see the bridge where normally the plastron would meet the carapace. There's no shell right there.
It doesn't connect.
It does, but not under hard tissue.
Right.
Okay.
So that's where they get the name, the narrow bridge. And then if you would look at you instead of me, you'd see that there's a little cusp on each side of the beak. Oh my gosh, he's so mad at me right now. And that's where they get the other common name, the vampire musk turtle. I don't know how many people use that, but I like that one.
It legit looks like he unhinged his jaw.
Yeah,
he wants to.
He's a snake going after your face.
Oh god. Oh god. Sorry, I almost just got bit.
Time to go put him away.
We're put him back.
Can we do a segment where we let it bite you?
What's that?
I said, can we do a segment where we let it bite you?
We almost just did.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm embarrassed.
So, Steve, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
When you're producing this calendar, because I'm assuming you're the one who like kind of puts everything together. How do you choose which photo for which month? Is there any rhyme or reason?
Yeah, actually there is. Lisa typically helps pick which turtle is in which month.
Okay.
So we try to pick stuff with reds and oranges for in like the fall months, especially like October with Halloween and stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like as silly it is we pick some turtles with like those fall like colors.
Yeah, North American wood turtle would be perfect for that.
Yeah, or like the current one has red-footed tortoise on for this month here in October.
But there's also fallen leaves all around it too. I think this redfoot, isn't there?
I don't remember. I thought it was just mulch. But anyway,
maybe that was a past year.
I haven't put I haven't put a calendar back up in the new house yet.
My calendar's right here, but it's on August, so that shows you how organized I am.
And I'm pretty sure Anthony has a calendar for me that he never gave me, so I don't know.
Oh, there's not leaves. You're right.
A couple years ago, we had an eastern painted turtle that had a bunch of multicolored leaves and a log around it.
That's what it was.
A September or October picture. So things like that end up being factors. We try to close the year out with something with a bang, and put one of the best pictures in January as well. One year we actually staged spider tortoises with a wreath and used that in December.
Okay.
I think that was the first year.
That was the worst. We've learned so much since then.
Yeah. And so my wife uses a calendar in her office at work. And so often one of her favorite pictures will end up in February or March, since she works so long hours during those years. That way she has a good picture to stare at. So
okay.
I like when Steve talks and tells a story with ice in his mouth. It's my favorite.
On average, how many of the photos are actually from like the wild versus the captive collections we keep?
About one ever.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, very few. They're hard to get calendar worthy pictures in the wild when you're not spending lots of time looking or out actually trying to take those pictures. Yeah. Like it's a nature photography type of thing. So that's the real challenge there. We technically have one in this year's calendar that was taken during a survey trip.
Okay.
That was actually September's picture. The Apollon ferox was taken during a naphtering survey. Actually that picture was actually taken by the wife of one of our dear friends, Andy Weber. His wife Jess took this picture.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's a very nice picture. And there you go. That happened. Yep.
It's spiny softshell?
Florida soft shell.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, calendar pictures. A lot of them are captive animals. We try to use long-term captives or hatchlings or really smoothly grown captive bred animals, but we don't want things to look gnarly or even unnatural in the picture, in the calendar especially. So it really is picking the best of the best that we can find for the year. That most of them have been taken by our staff, and then sometimes we have some submitted. And since TSA partners with us for the calendar the last couple of years, they submit a couple pictures from various projects of theirs.
Okay, awesome. Did you see the photo I sent in for the snapping turtle? It was like on pavement.
I did.
So that thing was so sick. Got really up close. It was clearly mad, but allowed me to get close enough to take like a pretty clear shot of it. But my buddy just sent me a text one morning saying that he saw that. He sent me like the GPS coordinates, and I went back an hour later and it was the exact same spot within like 5 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
It was just looking for a spot to lay,
Huh.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, later this week we'll really start digging through all those pictures to, finally to process them and then pick the best of the best of the best.
I think we've got more good ones than ever going into this stage of the game.
We'll see. I'm still collecting some pictures from some places. So
you're supposed to be optimistic. I thought you're the optimistic one.
I am, but we had a really nice calendar this past year, so it's gonna be tough to beat. We're gonna have some really cool things that we haven't had in a calendar, to be honest. So it could be really interesting to see what all we can put together. We're actually a little behind schedule, I must admit, but between moving and all these other projects going on, this one got delayed slightly this year. So speaking of other projects, let's talk about that thing on your hat, since that also connects to where to the project Ari went out with you for. Well,
sure.
One of them, right? Was he at both places?
No, he came out to
Oh, I thought he was out to that one too.
No, he came out to John Foley's project for wood turtles, the telemetry project.
Got it.
And then he just went and visited Chris's place.
Got it.
That was actually like a week. Those two things were like a week apart.
Right.
So,
let's start with one of those, and then you can just ramble on from there.
I would like to ramble on. Thank you so much for the green light for that. I would like to ramble. So we were part of I suppose we could start with the Turtle Conservancy, since you pointed out my hat, and that is why I wore it. A little rep out. Shout out to our buddies there. And if you're a viewer of the podcast, this podcast, the Pondcast, then you've seen our friend James Liu, and he took these photos of the Diamondback terrapins, the terrapin nesting project, which is in New Jersey, with Diamondback terrapins. And Kathy Lacey's been a part of this project for a long time. You've heard Chris Leone talk about this on the podcast before. And what an amazing project. This was my first time seeing them in action. And it's actually, Chris is a big part of this as well. And the Turtle Conservancy and Kathy, they all work together on this amazing project. Kathy does a lot of the day-to-day running of everything still. But they've released over 2,500 terrapins just this year. Like, that's amazing. And I was actually there for this release that day. That hand on the left is Chris's hand, and then the hand in the middle is Kathy's hand. And you see that little Diamondback that's yawning, like mid-photo. I was standing right there, and that turtle yawned. We were all seeing the photo being taken. And that turtle yawned, and everybody just like erupted. Like, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" It was really an amazing moment, because anyone who films or photographs turtles, like that yawn opportunity only happens so often, and for it's tough enough to get a Diamondback to stay still for half a second. I know, Kevin, you're a Diamondback expert. Like, to get them to stay still for even a second is tough enough. This one was like posing, and we were talking about, oh my gosh, what an awesome pose! It's not moving well, and then all of a sudden it yawned, and that's why we just erupted. But it was great to be there. The Turtle Conservancy did a live video for the dodo, and they got like 30,000 views like within the first couple minutes. It was wild. It was really, really cool. But Kevin, you can speak to that, right? Diamondbacks don't stay still, do they?
Depends. Some of the ones that I keep, they love me taking photos and get right up to their face. They don't move at all.
The sick ones, yeah.
No, no.
You don't keep sick turtles. I'm just kidding. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. You ever get a photo like that?
No, I'm not that good of a photographer.
That is funny too, because I was talking to James about it afterwards, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not really like the best focus, but we could use it. Like, look at that photo; it's gorgeous."
Yeah, it's the quality doesn't really matter.
I see what he says though. It's not quite focused, but
absolutely right. It seems like it's more maybe on part of the hand than on the actual turtle itself. But man, is it
size? It's really hard to focus on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially without a macro type, setup ready to go, it's really hard to focus on something that small.
Pun intended. Get it, macro? No one?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That was a joke.
Unintended.
That was pun. Yeah, so that's a joke. I just want everyone to know. So
it was pun intended.
Was it?
For those that don't know, macros are the diamondback terrapin that live in Florida.
Right, one of the subspecies in Florida. Yeah. Right, and that's why that's short for macrospelota, which is the scientific name for the ornate diamondback terrapin. Macro for short. Us turtle nerds just call them macros.
Diamondbacks actually just had a huge win. New York banned the collection and the keeping of diamondback terrapins altogether.
That's great.
A really long time coming, and we're all very, very happy about that.
But how can I find someone to export them? I'm kidding. Did you see that? So there was a Facebook post. This is my favorite stuff. This is my absolute favorite stuff. But at the same time, it makes me cry inside. You know what I mean? Like something that's so troubling about something you care about, but like that all you can do is just laugh at your own pain, right? Because that post came out and everyone it's this whole group of naturalists and people who really care and dedicate their lives to saving animals, even if that means keeping nothing in captivity because everything is safe and in its place in the wild, right? That's what we all want, and I guarantee you that's what I want. If the world was different and every single one of these animals could be safe in the wild, you can come and take them tomorrow. When the spotted turtle got outlawed and in Connecticut and I couldn't keep them anymore, the first species I ever hatched, I happily gave my spotted turtles up. I didn't want them anymore. That's perfect. That's a good thing. I want them to be protected in my home state, and if that means I can't have them, then so be it. So anyway, going off on a little bit of a tangent, but so the news came out and all these naturalists and, like I said, people who really care are all posting, oh, this is amazing. And you've seen these people for decades fighting this fight and trying to do what's right by the animals. And then here comes the post from someone, I'm looking for someone to export these, basically just trying to get some of them in his greedy hands on the same post where we're all rejoicing that they just got protected in New York for the first time. So it's also kind of a somber reminder that it doesn't matter, kind of like gun laws, like gun laws keep the guns out of the good guys' hands. I mean, that's the argument that a lot of pro-gun people have about gun laws. I'm not saying I'm either, but I just think the same thing happens with animals. Like, yes, they're protected, but there's still going to be people who would do anything, and that's a perfect example.
And it's not going to stop the people that go to poach them and whatnot.
Yeah, because it'll probably be a slap on the wrist anyway if they do get caught. And
you know what? We went to the undisclosed spotted turtle spot in Connecticut, and we found like 10 piles of just leaf litter that were people just netting for them. Yep.
And I've it's been a year and it's been like 14 months since I've seen one there. Well, I should say like in the last like 26 months, I've seen one in 26 months there. And it was before it was you'd go and you'd see several at the same time. Like you'd go and see 10 in one day. And now I've seen one in 26 months. So, and I go regularly throughout the year.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe if you were trapping there or something, maybe you'd encounter more. Maybe there are still more, but they're pretty secretive. But I don't know. I don't go to catch them.
The one thing, plus and minus anyways, the Diamondback has is that they don't really bask close to shore so much. More so out in what are those words? It's like
in the marsh.
Yeah, the marsh, but like the grass above,
Yeah, because coming up on shore, then they have to run down. Picture like a soft-shell turtle quickly running down the bank and into the water. Whereas if they're on some like a basking area that's right above the water, then they could just plop right in the water and be safe from something above. So that's with anything. That's one of the things that one of the gripes I have with the waterland tub for keeping them in captivity. You still need to figure out a way to have a basking area in the water section, because the land area that's for egg laying or whatever is not a natural basking area. There should still be like a log or something that comes out of the water that they can bask on to try to mimic like a natural situation where they could just dive in the water, as opposed to like, taking a few steps and running down the slanted bank.
Well, Pete, the guy who created Waterland Tubs, if you ever see like the footage or whatnot of his like setups for his deck terrapins, he has basically a like a 1x6 coming out the opposite direction for them to bask on, and they die, they fall out from there.
Right. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's his product.
Right. Exactly. That's cool. So that was one project with the Turtle Conservancy. Such a pleasure seeing those guys, and such a pleasure seeing that project for the first time. It was really, really amazing. And I look forward to the next time that I'm able to get out there. And, if you're looking for something to support, it's not a bad idea. We talk about our friends at the TSA and the Turtle Conservancy all the time. So, and if you are not familiar, please check them out. But if you're familiar with us, I assume you're familiar with them. You never know, though. Could be one or two. So that was one project. The other project is what Ari came to, and we're trying in the future to have a guest, John Foley, who runs a very important telemetry project in New York. And basically they have over 100 wood turtles and a couple box turtles that have transmitters adhered to their carapace, and using a kind of antenna device, they can go out and find where the turtles are in the habitat, and then they can make note of that. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and this will not be the last time I say it. After spending the time in the wild on this project, specifically because of the devices they're using to track the turtles, it's really difficult to picture keeping this species in captivity if you're not doing it the right way. So if you go to Chris's place, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen photos and or videos. I mean, Ken Harkin went there and did a video on his enclosure with this running stream in it. And I know I've shared photos and we made videos about it ourselves. And there are several people, actually, I've learned. I thought Chris was the only one. Like, no one could have this amazing thing, but there are actually others as well. So unless we're talking about that type of captive environment, I really have a difficult time wrapping my head around keeping North American wood turtles in captivity. Just after spending time with them and seeing how much they maybe do or maybe don't move. Every animal is different. Some of them kind of stay put in a very small area, and then some are traveling miles and miles, at different points of the year. There's this one that we call My Girlfriend, because Michael Musnick, the amazing citizen scientist who's been doing this work for a long time, would save her for every time I came out with them, so he wouldn't have to walk this like ridiculous mountain ridge all by himself. And she, bless her heart, she climbs that ridge every single year in the summer after she's done laying her eggs. It's the most amazing thing, because like there's a whole population, but she's the only turtle that goes there. It's really amazing. And some just stay put, and then other ones will go 3 miles in the other direction, and it makes no sense. And that's why the work they're doing is so important, because we don't really know yet like how they use the habitat and stuff like that. And John, something that I found really fascinating, John is kind of aspiring to do some work with juveniles, and no one does work with so many of these species with juveniles, because they live a completely different life where they're kind of hiding most of the time. They're not out and about and moving. They're not doing the egg laying and the, you know, returning to the river for breeding and all the different stuff that adults are doing. And that goes for a lot of species. If you look at a lot of different emidids, they, you know, like box turtles and like the old Clemmies group, which is like the spotted turtles and the Pacific pond turtles and the wood turtles, and you can even add like the Blandings turtles to this. All the research on those turtles don't include hatchlings. They're researching what the adults are doing. So I think there's a lot to be learned still about neonate, juvenile animals of different species. We just don't know. So there's a lot of exciting things going on there. And Ari came out. We did like a drone flyover. It was sick. So that was a really exciting one as well. Yeah.
So you said you have 4 in the pipeline right now, correct? We've heard of 2.
So we're talking about 4 different things. It's actually 3 in situ projects, and then another project that Steve was going to mention. But the other 2 are actually Steve's. So
okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
So here we are, and we've got about 15 minutes left of our normal time here. So 2 weeks ago, we were out in the wild, in situ, as we've been talking, just actually north of my house here in Pennsylvania, where we were working on long-term monitoring projects with wood turtles and the other sympatric species in the area. This is a project that we put together in collaboration with the Turtle Survival Alliance's North American Freshwater Turtle Research Group. It's been in progress now in the building process since for almost 2 years. Last year we did a lot of preliminary surveying, and so 2 weeks ago was the first full-blown survey following the full-blown protocol. And so give me a second here. I will pull up some of the pictures from the week end. Come on, open them up.
Take your time. Take your time. I got all night.
I have 15 minutes.
All of a sudden. There we go. So here are some of the pictures from a couple weekends ago. This group of pictures was taken by our good friend Ayla Ross, who was out on the survey with us. She is and there's Andy Weber, another good friend of the Turtle Room. That's actually a water snake we found along the way.
I was going to say that's a really long turtle.
Yeah, and so here's a sample of us measuring and performing some data. That's Chris Bortz, another one of our local guys there.
Dude, nice shirt. Nice shirt, man. Cool.
Actually, yeah, you know, a good breathable shirt to have out there. There you see me notching one of the wood turtles while Andy apparently spaces out. And actually, we found this really cool bullfrog. It was gorgeous.
Did you eat it? Did you eat it?
Nope. And there's one of me apparently looking funny that I didn't know was being taken.
Yeah, somebody said something about your mama, I think.
Must have been.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I'm going to stop that there. And actually, this is from June. We didn't get great pictures. Turns out the lens was a little foggy when we found her again here in 2 weeks ago. But this is a really old female wood turtle. And one of the cool things, like, she's even smoothed down her vertebrals. Like, this is an old lady that still is laying nests, which is really kind of cool. We estimate that she's a good 70 years old or so, or possibly even more.
Wow, look at that.
She's really smooth bottom, starting to get smooth on the top. She's got a little bit of an injury, which you can see the left part of her jaw has been damaged.
That's an amazing turtle. Wow. I can't believe the how devoid of markings her plastron is.
Oh yeah, she's really old. And so here you can see the damage. So we've seen her twice now in just a few months, which is really cool. And this is another male from June then. But so lots of cool stuff. Actually, let me get one more. I think we have another good picture of some other pictures and measurements being taken, which are kind of fun to see as well.
You don't want to share the pictures of when I was there in April and we found the snapping turtle? Messed up, man.
Those are in a different folder. I was just, focused on the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a couple more of us measuring turtles out of sight, and you can see this guy underwater.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we also found this little stinker along the way. And she was a little humpbacked. Can't really see it in those pictures. Oh, here's a great little video of when we released her.
Yeah, she took off.
Goodbye, my love.
So, so yeah, we're performing. We have one set of protocol. Well, really two we're following simultaneously. We're taking even extra measurements beyond what is normally taken by either of the two protocols we're following, because we have some possible research ideas that we're taking all this extra data for. So anyway, so took 4 of us to collect data because we needed 2 people to hold the turtle because of some of the measurements we wanted to take, one to take the measurements and one to record the measurements. So it was a big process.
So for people that don't know, the wood turtle is endangered. So if you see one, don't pick it up. Definitely don't grab a saw and try to notch the shell on your own. Great animal. And just
that would be illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy it from a distance. Don't, really mess with it at all.
There are many states where, actually Pennsylvania has this great project called PARS. I know Connecticut has a similar one where as long as you have a fishing license and you're out, you can pick up the wood turtle, take a couple pictures of it, and then log it in their PARS database so that the state can know where you found it and keep better track of the population. So
I wasn't aware of that, actually. So
yeah.
You know about that?
We do have that in Connecticut where they do rely on submitted records for kind of sightings of specific species. But
awesome.
I don't know if they want you picking them up and molesting them at all. I use the term molesting.
Right.
I use the term molesting loosely. Don't get excited, guys. Okay.
I know. The protocol for PARS requires specific pictures to be taken of it so that the identity can be verified as far as species goes. That makes
a lot of good sense. But that piece is not in the, as far as I know, is not in the Connecticut protocol for that sort of stuff. But very cool to do it that way. I think it's worth having a couple turtles molested in that way. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm using the term loosely.
That's actually talking about PARS here is actually a really good segue. Partly because one of the founders of PARS was actually out at our fundraiser event just on Saturday. So on Saturday, we were out with the Turtle Survival Alliance at Spoonwood Brewery in Pittsburgh for the latest installment of their Drink Beer Save Turtles fundraiser. So I was the only one who was staring directly into the sun without sunglasses, so I look like a complete goof. But, everybody else looks pretty good in this picture, so I'm happy with it. So you've already gotten to see some pictures of our good friend Andy. He's sporting his Turtle Room hat. He's, a big part of what NAFTURG and the Turtle Room are doing here in Pennsylvania. He's kind of my co-lead here in Pennsylvania to manage that project. He's also really important in the PARS project as well. He's a county coordinator for them, which is kind of cool. And then you see Scott and his girlfriend Kim in the back as well. Scott's another one of our Turtle Room guys. Ayla was out on our survey, has been out on NAFTURG surveys before. Bright, young researcher. And then this is Eric Muncher, front left, who is the director of the North American Freshwater Turtle Research Group, which is part of the Turtle Survival Alliance. And so he was kind of the point person to make these 2 events happen. And that's his son, Tristan. My wife is next to me. That's Lisa. And then the guy on the end, Josh Brown, he goes by Fuzzy. He's been part of NAFTURG work and was even out to help us with a wood turtle survey one day last year, as I recall.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say, you're not even going to talk about this poor guy on the left over there?
I was getting to Fuzzy.
All right. I just want to make sure. I'm like, man, maybe he just doesn't know who he is and doesn't want to be rude. So he just skate right past him.
So who brought all the species there? It looks like I saw a Chinese box turtle up front. Looks like maybe a albinifrons. I can't really tell.
Yeah, so the animals for the 2 events that we've had in Pittsburgh have all been brought by the Turtle Room, and that's kind of one of the ways we help the TSA out with these events. They always try to have live turtles at the events as a draw and as an educational tool. So because this is a lot closer to us than the TSA, they ask us to come bring some animals out because they know we can bring some endangered animals and put on some good educational information, and they trust us to kind of represent them in that way. Turtles that we had at the event, we had 8 species from 4 different continents at the event. From North America, we had a melanistic male red-eared slider. We had an eastern painted turtle, and we also had a barber's map turtle at the event. From Asia, we had a 4-eyed turtle, a Geomitis spengleri, and Coro flavomarginata. And from Africa, we had Pelamedusa sabrufa, and South America was represented by a redfoot, which actually wandered the yard almost the entire day. Really interactive experience for kids and adults alike as a result.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
so these events are always great. There's been 1 in Fort Worth, 2 in Charleston, and now 2 in Pittsburgh so far. So if you ever see TSA talking about Drink Beer, Save Turtles event, try to get out. It's really a good time. You can hang out for hours just shooting the crap, talking turtles, and enjoying a freshly tapped beer as well, for those of you that like a good brew.
Steve had so many beers that he hung out for a few hours afterwards by himself on the lawn with the redfoot turtles.
Yeah, we were home by. When did we get? We left at. We got home around 1 o'clock. So
1 a.m.
Too much with a 4-hour drive, man.
That's rough. Goo.
So,
better you than me. What's the girl's name? Ayla.
Ayla, yeah.
That's so great. So just so you know, I don't know if you knew this, but she and I did sampling together in Florida.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She mentioned at the conference that she had met you, and so that's where she and I met for the first time. And I'm actually helping her with some data analysis on and some research that she's trying to put together as well. So
that's so cool. I love it.
So we've got a nice big collaborative group of co-authors working on another bit of paper, another bit of research on Sternotherus minor, actually. So
very cool. She and I caught those together. What was so great about having her there? Everyone had wetsuits, and they're going into the springs, and all these Floridians and all these Southerners are like scaring me, and I should have known better, right? Like, I'm from Connecticut, I'll be all right, but like the water's really cold. You need the wetsuit. The water's really cold. The water's really cold. The water was like 70 something degrees. It was not, it was so nice. It was like warmer than my bath water, if I could fit in a bathtub. what I imagined my bath water would be like if I could fit in a bathtub. Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty.
Right.
She saved me, and she was the only one who also wasn't, probably because she's from a northern climate as well. She was like, yeah, they're all, you don't need a wetsuit. You're good.
In fact, she'll be out again with us in another couple of weeks for the next round of wood turtle surveys as well. She's likely going to be a big part of that as long as she's within reasonable driving distance. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. I love it when stuff like that comes together.
Indeed.
Good work. Good work. So you did get drunk though at the event?
Yeah, definitely not. Actually, I've never been drunk, period, in my life. So that's my one claim to fame.
Minto hasn't either. Minto's drunk right now.
No, not at all. No.
Drunk on turtles.
In about 7 to 8 minutes, maybe, but not at this moment.
That's so bad. This is water. I'm in my Gatorland cup.
Yeah.
It's my new gimmick on the show. I bring a different cup every time, and I hope that people recognize.
I don't think anyone's noticed yet. I mean,
did you notice? No, you guys didn't say anything.
Nope.
I watch every month. I didn't notice.
Viewers, do us a favor.
It's just coincidence.
Yeah.
Do us a favor. If you notice a different cup, please write into the show. Let us know your thoughts. If you like Anthony's cup, if you think his cup is foolish, if you don't really care about the cup thing, we'd like to hear your thoughts either way.
I assume
whatever.
Yeah, I just assumed you didn't do your dishes, that you just had to get a new cup every time.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. I've had meningitis 4 times for that reason. I'm just kidding. I got meningitis from the turtles. Did you know that turtles can carry salmonella?
What?
That's actually, you know, a big topic when you're out at these educational type presences.
Yeah,
you got lots of kids. They want to touch the turtles, so you've got hand sanitizer there, and you're talking about, you know, those issues, and you're like, and you tell them, well, it's no different than a chicken. So
yeah, no different than a tomato.
You know, salmonella is not a turtle disease; it's like a dirty disease. It's just the water quality, and it's.
Well, and partly it's just because they eat, drink, and pee all in the same water for the most part. So,
yeah.
I mean, imagine if you lived all the time in the same place you did all those things.
How do you know?
I do. Yeah.
Anthony has a really big toilet that he just, you know, hangs out in.
I have to have a really big toilet. I'm a big man. But yeah, I've talked about this before on the podcast. Like, I think it's so foolish. And you know, turtles are seen as like an exotic, a frivolous, like unnecessary companion pet or whatever. So I don't even see my turtles as pets. They all have jobs, important jobs. My dogs have no job. My turtles all have a job. Their job is to make baby turtles. But and to try to do their little part to maybe have a part in saving their species on a small level at some point. But I mean, like if my daughter, you know, got bit by the dog or ate dog poop and got E. coli, then, you know, it wouldn't matter. We're not going to outlaw dogs. Dogs are man's best friend and they're important. But, you know, we'll outlaw baby turtles because of salmonella, because laws are made in reaction to in knee-jerk reactions, and at some points mass hysteria around a certain subject. So I guess that's just the world that we live in. But that's my concern. And what I was saying about that Diamondback situation on Facebook, where somebody writes, hey, I'm looking to get some of those exported, on the same exact post where everybody's celebrating that they've gotten protection in the wild. I think that, you know, I've also talked about this. It's, you know, it's a sad world that we live in for turtles, and all of the corresponding we do online where we make ourselves look really stupid is a real shame. And I think that ultimately it's going to lead to a time when we're not able to do the work that we do in captivity anymore, or without maybe making a lot of friends and pulling a lot of strings and proving ourselves at the very most. But I know for someone who lives in Connecticut where they don't give permits, I think one day just everywhere is going to outlaw keeping animals, and some states are not going to have the manpower to have a permit process and check everything out. And then I think ultimately it'll lead to us not being able to keep animals anymore. And I hate to end the broadcast on a somber note, but I think more than just a somber note, I think that it's a challenge and a call for unity and togetherness around this whole thing, that a lot of us get really excited about the almighty transaction and being able to sell an animal, even if we've hatched it or not. Or perhaps we appreciate the ability to get whatever animals that we want to have, the Pokemon gotta catch them all mentality, where we just want to be able to rule over animals and keep what we want and have it in our house no matter how rare it is or whatever. Because that comes out in the classifieds when we write it. You know, if we don't have a lot of knowledge about the animal and we're just looking to sell it, that comes across in our ads. And if I'm a lawmaker and I look at the classifieds, I have a lot of questions about this whole hobby and why I should allow it to continue. It's like if aliens from another planet were watching humans and they decided to look at reality TV to figure out who we were, I think they'd probably think, I don't know if these humans need to go on existing anymore. And I think it's the same thing for us in our hobby. So I think we need to be careful, and I think people need to be mindful of it, because ultimately we and the turtles to a certain level are the ones that are going to suffer if we keep going the way that we're going. Sorry. Is that bad for a soapbox thought?
No, I mean, I think a lot of the turtles themselves are going to suffer more than so the humans, because it's, for us, a lot of us anyway, it's just like a selfish need where, in fact, that's what's causing the problem with the turtles itself, because if they're being taken from the wild, they're not being able to be protected, and if we can't protect them in captivity for some of these species, they're done for at this point, unfortunately.
And I think every single one of these situations is complex. So I've had very smart people, and I won't say any names, but very smart people who have been doing this for decades and really know what they're talking about, come to me and say, slow down, pump the brakes on what you just said, that, you need to understand that some of these animals, like in Asia, are just going to be eaten away. And if we don't get some sent over here or over wherever, Europe, other parts of Asia, wherever, even if it is in the pet trade, that at least the species will survive. So I think there's complicated nature in every part of this. I just think we embarrass ourselves at the way we look in classifieds and things like that. Like turtle stuff on Facebook does not, the majority of it does not make me confident in the future of our hobby. And I think that people just have to have that in mind. It makes us look bad. And, I think that we're the ones that are going to pay the price. And I do think the animals as well, because I do think that there are good things happening because of the pet trade. And, but there's a lot of bad, and a lot of it could be avoided too with education. There are a lot of people that know a lot about animals and use that to try to make a buck. Where if they put their energy into education and, tried to do the best they could to not be so careless around certain things, then I think everyone would be in a much better place. And I'm not going to tell everyone how to do their stuff, but one day when this all gets ripped away and we don't know why, I think I'll be able to look back at the Pondcast episode 39 and say, I told you so. Just saying.
Man, he's trying to, I think he's trying to get all of our viewers to want to hang up so we can go home.
Message. No, I'm saying keep turtles, enjoy them, but challenge yourself to be the best turtle nerd you can.
There we go. Now there's the positive spin I'm looking for. Woo! All right.
Bong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, there it is. Action step. Thank you. Woo!
Gatorland Cup.
Nice cup.
Gatorland Cup. Next month. We don't do this every week. Next month, I'm going to have something real good for you guys.
Yeah, so next month, we, first Monday, like usual, I can't remember what date that is right now, which is what I was trying to pull.
It's the 6th.
There
it is the 6th.
Yep.
It is the 6th.
November 6th is the next first Monday. So that's that'll be Pondcast episode 40.
40. Oh my gosh.
Think we get to 40?
Woo.
So yeah, 40 next month, which means we'll be at 42 in December.
41. What are you talking about?
If we do, 40. You're right. I'm a month behind. I was thinking next month, October, for some reason. 40, 41. So that means 50 will be next October, January, February, March, April.
September.
Except we don't do in August.
Well, we may do in August this year if we can get everybody.
Well, if we can pull it off, right. Maybe we can
There's
pull it
a
off.
party going on right here. Celebration to last throughout the year. Sorry.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with a celebrate, man. I've actually played that song in church.
Sounds like a cool church.
Amen, brother.
Let's not get into that.
Well, I feel like we're coming to the end of our railroad tracks.
That's your opinion. I'm here for the long haul. I'm ready to turn this episode into a filibuster. Just kidding. I'm out of water. I'm done.
I'm not
Ladies
sure
and gentlemen,
water in there at all.
Anthony Pierleone.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So before this train gets derailed completely off of these railroad tracks, I think it's about time we sign off. For Anthony and Kevin, Kevin, great to have you on, man. A lot of value added. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
As always, I'm Steve, and we'll see you on November 6th. Good night.
Good night.